make sure there's no cold food left for you. My name is Hassan. I'm the co-CEO of Pickman. And today we're going to talk about attracting and retaining staff. What we're not going to talk about today are product recommendations. If you want any insights in terms of what our customers use, happy to share that with you. But today we're going to talk to you a little bit about how they're thinking about their tech stack. So today I think it's really important to start with discussing the staffing squeeze here. Now we all know hiring is tough. We all know there are a million job openings in hospitality, but oftentimes we need to take a step back and look at the data. Number two, I think it's important to recognize that we need to look at the employee in a similar fashion that we look at our customers, right? When we open up a restaurant, we design the menu, we design the ambiance with the customer in mind, but things have changed where we have to have the employee in mind in order to attract and retain them. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Then we're going to talk about labor and where technology intersects with labor specifically. There's a lot of things you'll read about in the news about like ripping out and replacing kiosks and so forth. But I think there's something to be said about intersecting labor and technology. We'll talk a little bit about that. And finally, leave really what you're here to listen to, which are how are the best companies that we're working with evaluating technology, really 7 ways to leverage it to build and retain a stronger team. Instead of hopping right into that at the onset, let's really understand the problem first. So, huge staffing squeeze happening right now. I think it was last month in the nation's restaurant news, they announced that pre-COVID levels of labor have finally been reached, but still there are 1 million job openings. So the consumer reads this article and they think, all is good, we're back to normal. But in reality, pre-COVID, there is still a massive gap. There's been massive workforce demographic changes. During COVID, a lot of employees, a lot of tenured employees left for other gigs, whether it be with Amazon, Uber, Grubhub, doing delivery, because there weren't enough roles to be filled, there weren't enough sales, there wasn't on-premise dining. Demographics have changed, new employees are entering the workforce. As a result, quality of talent. You're not getting those 10, 15, 20-year tenured bartenders, servers, which means there's a ramp time. And the new talent coming in have expectations. I want it right away. I want to work less shifts, and I want to work the shifts, of course, that I want to work. And guess what? It's my choice because I'm the employee. The employees really feel the tables have turned. Let's talk about number 2, rising costs. It's why we're here today. It's why we work with Performance Food Group, right? The supply chain is tight. There's a lot of companies that are looking at other providers that don't necessarily partner with PFG. And so having a single partner that's valuable allows us to decrease food costs. Food costs are next to labor, your second largest cost, right? We're talking 25, 30% of revenue. We're also looking at higher interest rates. Let's talk about minimum wage increases. Now, California here with the FAST Act coming out, $20 an hour. Now, we're hoping that's isolated just to California, but we know it's coming. We know where it's going to be coming as well. And the challenge is that there's only so much somebody will pay for a specific menu item. So we have the challenge of increasing minimum wages, higher costs of food, higher interest rates and inflation. Consumer expectations are changing as well. They want to be in and out quicker. They have technology expectations as well. And so when we talk to operators, a lot of operators say, labor costs, huge challenge for a restaurant, using California as an example. We then see GMs thinking, well, why don't I cut people out of sections so that I can actually decrease labor costs? But as a result, they're decreasing their cost of labor, but customer satisfaction is down, revenue is down as a result of that. So I think this is important to recognize, and let's really take a lay of the land here on what's happening, in that we're not back pre-COVID, we're in the same position, and there's something that we need to do a little bit better. So black box intelligence, I don't know if you guys ever kind of follow those guys, they got some great data, and what's interesting in the restaurant employment world is that similar to what happens in white collar roles. People work somewhere for 2 years, leave, go to another job for 2 years, leave. They're making more money job switching than being tenured. Unfortunately, that is now happening with restaurants. Quick service restaurants in particular, where in quick service, they're offering signing bonuses. They're offering wages higher than the next individual. They're offering a lot of incentives to draw those individuals out. When you think about turnover as a whole in the business, 80%, that's up about a quarter. When you talk about quick service, that's double. We're talking 160%. So I'm having a conversation with one of our customers, and he said, I don't feel like I'm in the business of delivering hospitality. I feel like I'm in the business of hiring and firing. Every day hiring and firing. I'm spending more time cutting final paychecks than I am kind of coming up with creative ideas around menu design. So let's really kind of take a step back here. I think we've all been in our respective businesses at times, and we think we know it all. We think we know what's best. But the best thing to do when things aren't working is not do the same thing as the definition of insanity, but let's take a step back. If we have a labor issue, let's try to put the employees' glasses on. Let's kind of look through their lens, right? I would say like almost all of us, with certainty, including myself, grew up in the hospitality space. We've walked in those shoes, but when you haven't worn those specific shoes for a while, you forget what it's like. And things have changed too. So let's really take a step back, and if we're looking to solve the problem, let's not say we know what the problem is and how we know how to solve it, but let's look at it from the current demographics employees' perspective. That means taking it back to basics. Like, why do employees choose hospitality? So I grew up in a household, my mom was a waitress. She'd come home with a stack of $1 bills and fives every night. And there was that gratification of getting paid every night. My father, the chef, then he worked a GM at Waffle House, he was a GM at Perkins, and we were in the hospitality business. He was in management, she was front of house. Saw it all. And so speaking from my personal experience, why my mom and why my dad picked hospitality is still the same reason people pick it today. That has not changed. The passion. My mom, greatest salesperson ever. Best waitress ever. Best salespeople make the best waitresses and waitstaff. Best waiters and waitresses make the best salespeople. It's who we hire. She had a passion. She was selling the product that she was passionate about. Flexibility. Picking up shifts. Dropping shifts. You're going to go on a family vacation, being in hospitality meant you could pick up another shift and go to Disney World. Culture as well. There's some clients that really put a ton of emphasis on culture, but I think as GMs and operators, we're so time constrained that it's hard to actually invest our time into the company's culture, into the employees. It's just hard. Because at the end of the day, we're managing a P&L, we're trying to stay in business. Culture is key. We'll offer some examples of some clients and how they execute culture very well. Let's talk about pay. At the end of the day, this is why people are in the hospitality space, specifically front of the house. They want to get paid every single day. They want to get paid every single day because they get that instant gratification. They know that last table they closed out with, they delivered kick-ass service, they got that massive tip, that's what's going to bring them back. They work for the daily pay, and that's important. So the question then becomes, how can we better meet the needs of those employees? How can we satisfy those 6 items that have not changed? What they're looking for hasn't changed, but the employees changed, so we acknowledge that. Here's what we're here to talk about today. We're here to talk about where does labor and technology intersect. Now here's a big problem. If you go to any restaurant, trade show, there's a piece of technology for everything. There's also a technology platform that is apparently the Swiss Army knife, does it all for everybody. Wants you to buy everything. Wants you to buy a solution for a problem that you don't even have. Let me let you in on a little secret of software companies. They're all about this one thing. It's called net revenue retention. You guys are probably like, I don't know what that is. You may know. Here's the secret. They want to sell you something, and they want to keep selling you more products to generate more revenue. That does 2 things for them. That's the business they're in. They're like, let's acquire this company and let's sell it to our existing base. Let's build this pretty horrible product and sell it to our existing base. Because we know, just like if you have a really bad banking experience and you're going to leave B of A, shoot, I have 10 different accounts automatically debiting my B of A account. It's too difficult. So there's a scheduling company out there that's notorious for doing this and pushing their payroll product when all you really need is scheduling. At the end of the day, when we walk through this today, you need a refrigerator, you don't need a kitchen remodel. So as we talk about labor and technology, we're talking about investing in the right technology to meet the needs. We're talking about having that technology provide that next level employee experience. And also, most importantly, if you're gonna pay for something, you wanna make sure you're saving something. You wanna pay for something and get an invoice every month from the same point of sale company that all these products that you're never even using. Instead of costing you a ton more. So let's talk about how it works. Number one, we all think we know it all. As parents, actually, too, we think we know it all. We don't listen to our kids half the time, but maybe we should be asking some more questions. From our employees, we should be asking questions. From our candidates, we should be asking questions. The best way to find a great product is not Google search, because guess what? All of these software companies are spending money so that their name appears first. The best way to find a great product is from your employees. Now, we just talked about turnover. We talked about these people likely aren't making it a year at a company. So they probably have had experience at other restaurants. Stuff they love, stuff they hate, stuff that makes their job easier. I tell our customers, don't necessarily poll your employees, talk to the candidates in the interview process as well. I think that's important. It's going to allow you the ability to learn what makes their lives easier. This is a huge part of the interview process because as a manager, you really have two responsibilities, not to oversimplify it. One, responsible to generate revenue, bring customers in the door, but also responsibility to your employees as well. Regardless of what industry you're in, a manager just needs to remove roadblocks, make my job easier, make me earn more money. That's what I see from an employee's perspective. So helping to understand what an employee is looking for from a scheduling solution. How easy is it for me to pick up and drop shifts? From a payment solution, why are you paying me out in cash when the guy down the street's paying me out in real time? I think that's really important. So, employee's perspective. Now, you got to be careful with this here, though, because you're always going to have that one employee that's been there for 20 years that has their own perspective and the way it should be. That person can be a champion for change, or that person can be actually a thorn in your side. But I think it's really important to solicit candidate and employee feedback on technology, what makes their lives easier, and also making them earn more money. That's why they're in the business. Two, we want to talk about enhancing, not replacing. So when I mean enhancing, I mean we're not looking to rip and replace something. We're not looking to say, hey, guess what? We're going to replace your cashier role with a kiosk. We're thinking about what processes can we make better without investing a ton of money in technology. And I think it's relatively straightforward. I think as we look at it, we whiteboard what are our biggest challenges operationally? What are our biggest challenges financially? Low-hanging fruit is I have my wife doing the books. I have my brother dealing with the inventory, when there could be better ways of outsourcing technology through invoicing platforms, through accounting platforms, and so forth. From a payment standpoint, why are we still running to the bank to pick up cash every few days to put into a safe? I don't want to move tips to payroll because they're going to walk across the street and work somewhere else. I got to pay them out instantly still. So are there solutions out there today that provides me the ability to still deliver the employees their tips every shift, but saves me the trouble of running to the bank, or saves me the trouble of hoping Loomis or Brink shows up with the cash? Half the time they don't. Okay, onboarding is huge here. So one of our clients does this extremely well, walk-ons, sports bar and bistro. So we work with I think all 85, 90 of their now locations. Onboarding is so key. So we talk about culture as being very important. A lot of us tend to think culture starts when the person signs the offer letter and is working for you. Walk-ons takes a different approach to culture. Culture starts when they set foot in the trailer and they interview the candidate. They walk the candidate through the onboarding process. They get them really excited about the opportunity. It then continues on through the onboarding process. Onboarding is key, and having the right onboarding technology is amazing. There's companies like Harry, Hot Schedules, Fourth, and many others that are great onboarding tools, and they don't force you to buy their payroll products. They don't force you to buy their inventory management products, and so forth. Now, leveraging data, this is the thing. Over tech the tech. So we were at the Texas Restaurant Show a few months ago, and the theme there was, I feel like we're over-teching the tech, which is like, I feel like I'm buying stuff that I don't need, and the salesperson told me that it's gonna do all this great stuff, and I'm gonna get all this amazing reporting, and this reporting is actionable. All of that sounds really amazing on a pitch call, and you buy it, and can you really, really even put that to work? Over-teching the tech. Do I really need that to integrate? Can my problem be solved with a lighter weight solution? When you're on any technology demo call with a salesperson, they're gonna convince you that you have a problem and that their solution can satisfy all 5 things. They wanna sell you as many products as possible. Go back to that whiteboard and ask yourself, is this something that I really need to fully automate? Going back to the cash example, do I need them to pull data out of point of sale and calculate tips? Or do I need them to just get cash out of a restaurant? That's a great example. Don't over-tech the tech. But going digital the right way is important. So I'll use another example. This is probably one of the most important points on here, Tom's Watch Bar. Tom's Watch Bar, very fast-growing sports bar, and they're fixed into major stadiums. They take a modular approach to buying software. What Tom's Watch Bar will do is they will never buy all-in-one solution, ever. And they're doing 10, 15 million of revenue per location. So a company like that is not even buying the full Monty from one vendor. Here's why Tom's doesn't do that. 2 reasons. One, if you buy the all-in-one solution, you're likely not getting the best solution. And also, it's very difficult to pull away. And 2, approaching technology and buying in a modular fashion allows you to negotiate at every renewal with your payment processor, with your inventory management software, with your accounting software. Guys, there are dozens and dozens of software providers in every single category, which provides you the ability to buy the technology that best fits your needs in each category. And then at renewal, they hit you with a price increase. You don't take the price increase, you push back for a decrease. Tom's buys modular. They also buy best-in-class software for each individual solution. Tom's doesn't automate everything either. They still do a lot of things the old-fashioned way. So don't necessarily think going digital means everything needs to be completely digitized. It does not. Prioritizing support. Great question to ask any technology provider that you're buying from is, you guys open on the weekends? You guys have 24/7 support? Because guess what? Most of them don't. Most of them don't. And if they do, it's offshore. Great questions to ask. Is it US-based support? Is it 24/7, 365? Is it your employees? Is it outsourced? Most of your restaurant sales are happening on the weekend. So what happens if something goes down? What happens if something doesn't work? What if I can't pay my employees because I'm paying digitally? That's important. 2, let's talk about implementation. What a lot of buyers of technology don't ask is, how is this implemented? The salesperson will always tell you, it's really easy. I'm going to send you a document. You're going to get signed this. You're going to get set up. You're going to get put in touch with this implementation person. And of course, the salesperson, the moment you sign, you're never going to hear from them again. What's really important to ask when you're evaluating technology is the implementation process. Don't ask necessarily the amount of time. Ask what stakeholders from your organization need to be involved and how much time each. Because at the end of the day, something may sound absolutely amazing, but if it's going to take about 20 hours and 5 different people's time to do it, that may change your decision. So we're trying to arm you here with better questions to ask as you evaluate your technology. Change management is important. We have a lot of clients that under-communicate or miscommunicate our technology, and it's not met with open arms by employees. Over-communication to employees is key with any technology that you're deploying. Low-hanging fruit from our perspective here, and any advice and recommendations is, don't bundle anything and everything with your point-of-sale provider. Bundling everything and anything, especially payment processing with your point-of-sale provider, locks you in. You know what happened with the Toast fiasco recently, which they soon retracted. Buy modular. There's also additional considerations to be cognizant of. Some of us are full service. Some of us are quick service. Some of us are limited service, delivery only. What type of company are we? This is super important, because if we're a delivery company, for example, do I want my driver coming back to the store so that I can cash them out, or do I want them to just be on their way? Be aware of your segment. Local market, what's everybody doing in your market? I'll use an example from our perspective. New York City, not a good market for our product. Our private product pays out tips instantly every single night. Not a good market for our product because everybody's on payroll there. But when you look at most restaurants across the United States, they're paying out tips in cash. So they're looking for a digital option. So know your market. If your peers are paying out payroll, and payroll is sufficient, we're not competing for that talent. But if my peers are paying out cash, I probably need to find a better way of solving that problem. And the demographic, who are we looking to recruit? What types of roles are we looking to recruit for? Are we looking for younger, seasoned? And we adjust our recruiting strategy accordingly. Platforms like Harry and others, home-based, they have built-in recruiting modules that are fantastic for onboarding and sourcing employees. So as you think about onboarding, let's also think about using technology to recruit and meet the employees where they want to be met. A little bit about us real quick, guys. We're the largest tip disbursement platform in the United States by volume. We move about $1 billion in tips a year to employees, anywhere from Dickies all the way to walk-ons and Dave & Buster's. So if you guys are at any point interested in wanting to learn more about what I believe is a low-hanging fruit of digitizing cash to pay out your team, eliminating bank runs, we'd be happy to have that discussion with you. Any questions at all? I got 5 minutes here. I'm also happy to stick around. If you're looking again for product recommendations, you can stop by our booth. You can share what our clients are like. What is Tom's using for POS? What is Walk-On's using for scheduling? Our promise today was not going to be like a product pitch and all these different vendors, but we're certainly happy to share best practices. Dave & Buster's, Tom's, Walk-On's, all the way down to SMBs. Because there's no one size fits all, and I'm happy to be a resource because we work with a ton of great brands and a ton of great technology companies. Thank you. Any questions at all, or otherwise I'll stick around. Thanks.